there comes a point in everyone's life where you're not sure what to do. You're not sure where to turn. You're not sure how something's going to come about. And it can be a really tough place to be because you're just feeling overwhelmed on every side. You're feeling like you got to level up on every level immediately. There's so many things to do day to day. There's so much more stuff going through your head that you can't even get into paper or in the computer yet. There's all the emotional up and down that you're analyzing and releasing and working on and observing and constantly bouncing in between these states. You know, this is the time when you're really at the edge of your comfort zone. It might even feel incredibly hard to handle. And part of it is just recognizing that you're going through a lot of the changes and the shifts that are necessary for all the things you've asked for to come forward, even if it feels like there's no way this is going to lead to the thing that you asked for. This is the point in having faith. This is the point in believing in yourself. This is when the rubber meets the road and you gotta just say, okay, I'm gonna do this because I don't have another choice, in a good sense. In the sense like you just have to keep moving forward. You just have to keep going and try to reel in your conscious mind, your monkey mind, the voice in your head. Reel in all the thoughts and tangents that it goes on, because that is not going to be helping you in all the grand scheme of things. A big part of why this experience feels so much, why you're like holding on, right? Why you feel like what's going to be happening is because, or what's going to be happening next is because you're uncertain about all the things that could come. You're uncertain about how it could go into the things that you want, and you have to work from a principle of faith and understanding the deeper sense of how we bring things about into our life. Things like law of attraction, things like manifestation. We have to be energetically in tune with that. And what I've found out recently for the past couple of years is that all kinds of things can come into your life in the most crazy ways that you never thought possible. And the journey that you're going to be taken on is going to require whole new versions of you. You're just going to have to level up. It's going to be uncomfortable because you're going from a phase of this is me, and you know, I don't know if everything I am right now is what I want, because otherwise if it was, I would have the thing that I say I want. And I don't really want to leave those things that I am, even though they're not serving me, because what might happen is I get to release those things and then turn to some unknown things, and that's scary to release things, even if I know they're not good for me. To face something that's unknown and to perhaps have to be patient or open-minded or willing to pick up a perspective or release a perspective or shift in some other way, you are going to have to make that change. And it is not easy, right? But the things that you can be doing to help with this are hitting the gym. Especially if you practice yoga, you need to balance that out with hitting the gym. If you're just going to yoga, then add the gym. If you're just going to the gym, you need to add yoga for sure. And I would very much recommend Vinyasa and Yin. So you just got to do your thing. You just got to get out there and do it, because there are people out there in the future and yourself in the future who are going to need you to do these things for other things to happen. Maybe that's being a different version of yourself. Maybe that's being a different version that you need to be, or someone else needs to experience with you for some reason when you cross paths. Maybe it's for a lesson that you need to learn in order to level up again even further. There's so many things that can come, and they come in all kinds of different ways because they have to teach you something in a specific way. And this is part of how life teaches us the lessons that we need to learn. So when you're going through all of this, it's really tough. Physically, one of the best things I would recommend is to literally keep your chin up. That makes such a difference. If I could really express one thing that I've been learning on my journey recently, where I've been going through a lot of hard and unexpected changes that have uprooted my life and caused, mental, emotional, physical, impacts in my physical life, my financial life, my job life, my work life, my passion life, on so many levels that you just got to realize and say, hey, I lost my train of thought there. But when I'm going through all these different changes and upgrades, what I'm finding helpful is to stick to my routines and keep my chin up. There we go. Keep my chin up physically, because how much I move my body around and how I physically decide to take my body, physically where I put it, that has a huge impact on how I feel. When you feel down, right, you tend to be like this, right? But a confident person, or a person who wins a game, is like this, open to all the things, taking up space. And some, standing confident, just lifting your heart right now. Try it. Lift your heart. Look at my shoulders. Lift your heart. Right? The changes that makes. Or if I pull my shoulders back a little more, or if I flex, or if I just slouch in the chair. All of these things have a direct impact on your emotions and your mindset and your voice. All three of those things, your physical body, your emotional body, your mindset, your voice, they create your world. And you got to be extremely careful and vigilant. This is a big part, vigilant in what you put out, emotionally, mentally, verbally, physically. It is hard. I don't know what else to describe it as. It is, more accurately, difficult. It is difficult. It is a new skill to practice being reserved and repetitively vigilant in my observation of my physical, mental, emotional, and verbal state. And oftentimes, especially on the verbal state, I will be in the midst of changing my social programming, my vocabulary, my speech, etc., because I recognize that I am going through patterns of emotional circumstances, or going through patterns of mindset, or repeating phrases to describe my reality that I don't want to agree with anymore. I am conscious that I'm saying this. Sometimes I'm saying them and they're coming up my mouth. And if you've ever had that, let me know what you're working on to improve that, because sometimes I'm saying the words and in my head I'm going, don't say this, don't say this, don't say this. But I'm just so pre-programmed and habitualized to doing that from my past that this is the stage of conscious incompetence. I talk about this in some of my young classes, but this is a good step in the right direction, because the next stage after conscious incompetence is conscious competence, which means you are conscious that you are now doing a new thing. It's when you have to keep telling yourself and then you're doing it, right? It might be hard. You might be feeling that angel devil on your shoulder type situation. Maybe even physically you are torn between turning between one, right now I'm sitting at a chair and I have a bed on my left and a desk on my right. And if it was late at night or I didn't feel like working or whatever, I might be sitting here physically torn between like, what do I do? And just feeling that like, right? Because I'm so conscious of like, hey, if I go to bed, I need the rest. And it would be good for helping me recover. And B, if I sit at my desk and I work on stuff, I can make breakthroughs, I could bring in a client, I could get ahead a little bit, I could be more organized. And you got to find that balance. So when you're making these shifts in your life, when you're going through all this unknown, when you're doing your routines or deciding if you're doing your routines or not, when your whole reality is shifting in front of your eyes because you asked for things so vigilantly and you are emotionally aligning with it that it's hard to process your physical reality so dramatically changing, and you're just holding on for the ride.